Hi Sam, welcome back to YouTube. I've been a long time viewer of yours, I remember you quite well actually. I didn't think your old videos were ill-informed at all. You name an example, unless you're just being too harsh on yourself. You said woefully unoriginal. Okay, what you said perhaps has been said numerous times before, but you had your own flair, you had your own style, you had your own personality. Again, I think you're just being overly harsh on yourself. It tends to happen. I was at a YouTube gathering at Coughlin's live show, and this guy called Numinous was saying, "Oh, I was such a fucking idiot back when I was a kid. You shouldn't be allowed to make YouTube videos when you're young." But again, I don't really see it, uh, except in myself actually. So yeah, I won't say what my other channels are. But gosh, I was looking at it the other day, and I actually blushed, thinking, "Oh shit, this is what I do on YouTube." So anyway, you can't really get the videos back, I take it, but I thought, okay, it was a simple enough point, but I loved your point on gay marriage when people say, oh, marriage is between a woman and a man, and your comparison to, oh, that piece of toast isn't buttered. And I loved your song, what was it called, Fool With Me? Yeah. Surely that doesn't come into what you were describing, of the harsh criticisms of yourself. So anyway, I hope you haven't been perturbed or put off by the sort of lack of attention you're getting now in comparison to what you were getting, because yeah, it is much harder to get views on YouTube now. The site generally is dwindling, but hey, I hope you can appreciate the quality of the subscribers and the loyal commenters you do still have, and not so much the quantity. But anyway, so I'm an atheist too. I'm a determinist. High five. I guess I would ask you then, in relation to your determinism, does this make you more forgiving towards people who do bad things? For me, I'd have to say yes, absolutely. I still hate. I still at times think, oh, hate that person for what they are. Hate the events that are happening in general, but rationally I know that as a determinist, the person's been programmed through their genetic code plus their environmental plus her environment to be the way they are. So I just can't, knowing this, I can't really in my heart hate on them. Wondering, how does that work for you? What do you think of punishing criminals as well? For me, not so big on punishment. I'm much more about trying to get to the root of the prisoner's problem. I've read a few books on criminal profiling, murderers specifically, and child molesters, and they tend to have harsh lives, so putting them in a harsh prison, they just seem to give up on themselves. It doesn't seem to deter them. There comes a point when punishment loses its effect as a deterrent mechanism. I'm for punishing children. I'm for sort of manipulating children to be the way we want them to be in society, through reinforcing their good behaviors and punishing, deterring their bad behaviors. But there comes a point with prisoners when it doesn't seem to work. And I've also visited the magistrates' court a few times, and when you see the people get on the stands and they're getting sentenced, they look like they just don't give a shit about themselves anymore. So I'm more for, in an ideal world, I'd be looking at therapy for all of these people. Possibly they get it already. I don't know. I might be really ignorant on this, but I have read a bit of a book called oh, I forgot the name. I've sold it now on Amazon, and it was basically relating to our prisons. I think I would be right in saying that we don't have much emphasis on how the person got to be what they are, unless they are mentally ill. My cousin actually works as a forensic social worker, it's called, and yeah, if you have a mental illness, apparently there's a magic thing called free will that we have our judicial system is based on, and if you're mentally ill, you don't have free will, basically. But if you're sound of mind, you do have free will. Bizarre. yeah, I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on that as well. Other question I would ask you is your thoughts on antinatalism. That's sort of a debate that's surfaced recently again on YouTube. Um, yeah, do you think it's justifiable to impose life on people, to roll the dice, basically create life, impose a consciousness on something you can't ascertain whether they will want to be here or not? They may very well not want to be here. You seem like a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, so I'd be interested to hear what your answer is on that. Because yeah, I do notice that people tend to use themselves as a reference. The antinatalists are kind of depressed, and the I'll say the pro-natalists are kind of happy-go-lucky, and this is referring to the Rosebush Skid Row radio exchange recently. Um, uh, I won't bother asking. The atheism, I don't know if you've kept up with the atheism debates. The last Magic Sandwich show I watched involved Eric Hovind and a friend of his, acquaintance of his, talking about the presuppositional argument. God exists, there cannot be no logic without God, and they know that God exists, and their knowledge is better than ours because, well, our knowledge relies on a vicious, as they put it, circular reasoning where we're using things within our reality to verify things in our reality. They've got an outside force. God is telepathically beaming to them the certainty of his existence and that Christianity is the right religion. And this is true because if there was a God, God would have the power to endow part of his creation with certainty of his existence. I mean, fucking hell. I think the theism debate is pretty much at its end on YouTube. There's not much point in throwing one's 2 cents into it anymore. So, anyway, welcome back, Sam. I do hope you'll continue. And, yeah, peace.